compromise for you. Okay. So, Dave and Vinny, Instagram. Dave and Vinny, Instagram. It was a damp Thursday evening on the Longcroft estate. Kind of night when the street lights flickered half-heartedly and the drizzle seemed personal, doesn't it always? Inside the rampant horse, the yellow glow of old bulbs and the smell of ale and cheap disinfectant created a kind of comfort you couldn't bottle. I'm going to turn that music off, it's put me off. Though plenty had tried. Ken the barman was polishing glasses with all the enthusiasm of a man serving a life sentence. Sandra the barmaid was laughing at something lecherous Lee had said, though it was more of a defensive reflex than genuine amusement. Oh, chutney lovely. Sick note Keith was perched on his usual stool near the fruit machine, nursing a pint like it was medicinal. Of course, to him it was. Then the door opened with a clatter. In came Vinny, followed by his equally unkempt terrier, Scraps, who immediately made a beeline for the fireplace and flopped down with a sigh that echoes his owner's. A minute later, Dave arrived, rain on his coat, face like he'd just escaped Carol's list of household chores, which of course he had. Evening, lads and lasses, said Dave, slapping a wet fiver on the bar. Pint, Ken. I'm paying this time. Ken grunted. Phew. You said that last week, Dave. You still owe me for 2 pints and a packet of crisps. Nah, put 'em on the tab. Vinny laughed. He's good for it. Ken, Carol will just dock his pocket money. Careful, Dave warned. She hears that and you'll be the next one under her mop. The pub chuckled. Sandra rolled her eyes and slid Davy's pint. You two are like a pair of schoolboys who never grew up. That's the plan, Vinny said, raising his glass. Growing up is overrated. Scraps barked once, as if in happy agreement. After a few minutes of the usual mild gossip, Keith claiming he'd done his back in, despite having spent the afternoon repainting his shed, the talk drifted, as it always did, into nonsense. That's when Vinny started. I'll tell you what's wrong with the world right now, he began, pint in hand, staring off into the middle distance like a prophet about to reach nirvana. Instagram. That's what's done it. Ruined civilization, that has. Thank you, Joe. Oh, here we go, muttered Ken, setting down a tray of glasses. No, listen, Vinny continued, warming to his theme. Used to be, if you wanted to impress someone, you'd buy them a pint, maybe tell a joke, dance badly to Come On Eileen. Now, you just stuck a filter on your face, pucker your lips, and boom, you're an influencer. Half of them couldn't influence Scraps to sit down, never mind sell protein powder. The pub gave a few chuckles, but Vinny wasn't done, not by a long way. You see, these young lassies, content creators they call themselves, stood in front of bathroom mirrors, taking pictures like they've just discovered their own reflection for the first time. Got captions like, just being me. Being you, you've used 6 filters and enough lighting to guide an aircraft into landing. Sandra folded her arms, eyebrow raised, but smiling. And don't get me started on the blokes, Vinny pressed on. All muscles and mirror selfies and never wearing a shirt. Never. Half of them look like they'd been inflated at Halfords. Back in my day, a man worked for his arms, didn't rent them off a personal trainer called Troy or Tarquin or bloody Quentin. Dave laughed so hard he nearly spilled his pint. He's got a point. Vinny was in full sermon mode now, and the pub knew better than to interrupt. You know what the best thing is? They take photos of their dinner. Their dinner! Who's sitting at home going, oh look, someone I don't know has eaten spaghetti again. That's inspiring. And just to make it extra special, they put a sprig of bloody parsley on it. Parsley, for God's sake. Even Ken was beginning to crack his face with a very reluctant smile. And then there's the bloody hashtags, Vinny went on, waving his glass for emphasis. Blessed, no filter, living my best life. You're not blessed, love. You're in the queue at Aldi's like the rest of us, living my best lie, more like. The laughter rippled around the bar. Sandra leaned against the counter and enjoyed herself. You done, Mr. Philosopher? But Vinny was far from done. What's happened to mystery, eh? Bit of dignity. Remember dignity? And not just the bloody song by Dick and Blue. Now it's all bums, brunchies and barley. Every lass with a tan thinks she's the next travel blogger. And the twins, always on display in some shape or form. Meanwhile, and this is what really galls me, Scraps here, he's got more followers than I have. More followers than I have friends. And all he does is chase bin bags. But it's, isn't he cute? Isn't he scruffy? Hey, when you going to wash him, Grandad? Scraps gave a short but unimpressed bark. That was the final straw. The pub erupted into applause, proper clapping, cheering, even a whistle from Sick Note Keith, who hadn't clapped since his last Sick Note review. Sandra gave Vinny a slow, mock applause of her own. Thank you, Lucy. Congratulations, Professor. That's the first speech in here that's lasted longer than Dave's marriage vows. Dave raised his glass, and with better delivery. Vinny grinned, taking a little bow. Just doing my civic duty. Someone's got to keep standards up around here. I'm a real world kind of guy. Good, thank you, Lucy. Hope you are. Ken shook his head, still smiling. If standards were any lower, Vinny, we'd need a shovel to find them. Then pour me another and pass me one, Vinny said. I'll start fucking digging. Sandra smirked, reaching for the pump. You're all talk, Vinny. He winked. That's what Instagram's for, isn't it? All this fantasy over reality, pretending everything's rosy. When I'm in me trolleys with me string vest on, love, I'll take a picture of me in the mirror and then a picture of me porridge. How's that? And with that, the rampant horse carried on, pints refilled, jokes recycled, Scraps asleep under the stool. Outside, the rain drizzled down over the Longcroft, and no content creators were taking any pictures, trying to capture the urban grit. In fact, the last influencer who tried was chased off the estate in fear of his life, his phone, and his wallet. And that is today's Dave and Vinny.